Welcome back to the Esports Report. Maven, Puckett, Maxwell, and Maven just made a powerful bet, 20 Colombian pesos against me. The Optic will not lose a single hard point. According to our friend Danny Doesn't Miss on Twitter, D Corky, that's 1 penny.
No way.
Solid
no
bet
way.
Here. Solid bet.
No way.
Very impressive stuff here, Maven. So
I'm a gambling man.
I did confirm there's no matches happening in pool play yet.
Okay, good.
All right, so people in the chat, settle down.
Settle down.
We're good. Everything is safe. But we still got to talk about our pools. Pool A, that of course was Optic Gaming, Envy, XGN, D&D, and then we'll have to find out who's coming through the open bracket. Pool B, though, is led by the squad that was put together to take down Optic Gaming. FaZe is joined by Rise Nation, Enigma 6, that Parasite, and General, Rod Squad, and of course the open bracket contender. Max, start things off for us here with FaZe. What can you tell me about the Red Militia?
I mean, honestly, the story about FaZe so far in AW has really been, putting together rosters to compete with OG. They've been on their heels. They've been close. Like we see, they took a series off of them at UMG Cali. Now they put together a roster of arguably, in my opinion, the best BAL in AW in Clayster, Enable. They added the explosive SMG and Attach, and then they kept Zuma as well. I mean, every roster they put together, has threatened OG. Let's take a look at champs, right? Parasite, Aches, Enable, and Slasher. They beat them in losers bracket. UMG Cali, Zuma, Enable, Hook, and Slasher. They took a series off them in the grand finals. Now, I mean, you add arguably the best player from the 2015 World Champions, and then in Clayster and Attach. Like, can this team actually do it, Puckett? Can this team actually beat Optic?
They haven't been able to yet. They did play him in the Pro League. We saw that first game. It should have gone in FaZe's favor. Karma clutching up with the rest of Optic Gaming at the end of Drift Hardpoint. From there, it was kind of steamrolling. I think it was totally mental. If FaZe takes game number 1 off of an Optic Gaming, maybe it's in the grand finals, they have confidence going into game 2. But if Optic comes out and beats them early on, I think FaZe is going to falter. I don't think they're ready yet at this tournament, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a second best of 5 of these two teams meet up in the grand finals. Maven, let's talk a little bit about FaZe, though, and their game mode to watch. Hardpoint has been their strength online. What do you like about these guys?
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all. I like everything about this team. Honestly, if there's anyone that's going to take out Optic, it's them. I love the inclusion of Clayster, man. I agree with Max. I mean, there's 2 BALs that come to mind when you talk about top BAL. It's him and Formal for me. Clayster, we've seen him disrupt Optic in the past. He can be so dominant. And you have to have in Hardpoint, I think you have to have that dominant BAL and then a really strong aggressive sub. And we know that Zuma and Attach are both capable of doing that. The question for me with this team, what Attach and Clayster are you going to get? For the most part, Clay's been very consistent. Attach on the other end, we saw him dominate at champs and then be kind of up and down since then. If he plays to his potential, there is no reason they can't take any map or game mode from Optic Gaming if they're all playing on. Granted, they need some slow play possibly out of Optic. Potentially, yes, but on paper, this team has what it takes. I mean, you have Enable. He can do your OBJ. One of the best communicators in the day, just back from his Halo days. Right when he came into Call of Duty, I thought he was better at talking to his teammates than 99% of the players. Zuma, one of your aggressive flankers. Attach, aggressive SMG. Clay, your best BAL. On paper, you love it. Can they beat Optic? I kind of hope so. I want some disruption. I want some disruption.
I mean, you're talking about Attach. You also see Attach on your screen as a spotlight player to watch in Hardpoint. But really, Maven, how much better do you think Zuma and Attach will be compared to, Zuma and Hook from UMG Cali?
Oh, it really just depends, again, on what Attach you get. If you get Attach from champs, I remember watching him, and there are sometimes just when you watch sub players that are on point, you watch them, you're just like, dear God. Like, they're not losing a gunfight. They look like they're melting every single person in front of them. But then other times we've watched Attach, his shot's been a little bit shaky. He seems kind of hesitant in the plays he'll make. It just depends for me. I think it has potential to be better and also potential to be worse. I know that's such a horrible answer, but really, for me, it depends what Attach you get. Zuma, for the most part, Zuma is what you get the same thing out of him every event. He's going to be a monster.
Yep.
I think, yeah, Zuma, as you touched on, might be their best player right now. The engagements that he's causing, they're near the top. I can only think of maybe 2 other players that are playing with that speed. Remy is constantly in the action, but he's not getting the kills that Zuma has been recently.
Zuma is an absolute beast.
Attach and Zuma together, though, I think this is more dangerous than Hook and Zuma.
Yes.
I think this is going to be really exciting to watch these two playing alongside each other. Clayster with the bow, he showed it. He can hang right there with form. When we watched it online, now we're going to get a chance to see it on land. It comes down to Enable for me. I think he's the X factor this weekend for the squad. We've seen Attach be on and off, but I think Enable takes that to the next level. He's been incredible, and he's been absolutely quiet.
Yeah,
Last time when they beat Optic, Enable was going off.
But the difference, though, for me at least with Enable is he, I don't think he's ever the player that's really going to lead the way in slaying for your team. He does a lot more in the ejected department, really kind of leading the way vocally for a team. I think you can get by with him having average games in the slaying department. I don't think the same could be said for any of the other three. If they're not going off, you're not winning.
I mean, Enable did play with OG. If anyone knows how they play and how they win, I mean, it's Enable. So,
Sure.
like I agree. Enable will be probably the player to watch, in my opinion. You know, Zuma, he won't get hesitant. If Attach is on, he's on. Clay, you know, you're going to get 100% of Clay all the time. So
that's FaZe big picture. But let's talk about their opponents within this pool. We're thinking way ahead. We're thinking championship match material. Let's bring it back a notch, all the way back to pool play. Let's talk about Rise Nation. This is a team had their players stolen the day of Pro League kicking off. TK comes in, swipes Theory. They swipe Neslo. Last second, they fill in TJ Halley and Goonjar, kind of the pickups from Team Caliber. But now, they release Goonjar after a subpar week and a half of Pro League play, and they bring in TCM. Max, how good is this team? Currently, they are the worst in the league map count in Pro League, but that is without this roster.
I mean, the nicest way I can put it is they're struggling. I mean, they're 11th right now in Season 3. They have a 3-10 map record. The crazy part is that they have a 3-10 map record, and they're not in last place. Epsilon, who's in last place with 0-5, has won more maps than Rise.
Because they go to Game 5 every damn series.
Yeah, right.
They choke in S&D.
Yes. So, I mean, like, they're 3-10, 0-4 in Uplink, extremely key now, always being Game 3 since we removed CTF. And, I mean, you know, when they're going to have to go up against FaZe and then the team we're going to look at next, Enigma 6, they're going to struggle.
So you're not expecting much from Rise?
I'm expecting probably a third-place finish.
I look at this very much like XGN. No expectations, a lot of potential. TJ Halley in night one of the Pro League was the #1 player overall. Out of everyone playing, he had the #1 stats, and it was in all game modes. So look for him. I think he's the real spark. He's the guy with the highest ceiling on this squad. He's gone off on previous UMGs. That's kind of where he broke out, made the huge name for himself, was at a UMG event. He's the star player to watch from Rise. But let's move it over now to Enigma 6. This is a team that's coming in third in their group by seed. But when you look at this squad, a lot of people are arguing that this team should be considered probably the second best here in Group B.
Honestly, this is my team to watch the entire event. Last time we saw Enigma 6 at a UMG event, Maven and Ben were losing oxygen trying to cast a retreat CTF.
I almost died.
That's true.
He almost died.
I almost died. That wasn't like at night afterwards doing things I shouldn't be. I almost died while casting.
And, I mean, so they lose what? They lose Exib and Cade for strange reasons, because this team looked extremely dominant. One of the only teams to ever place top 3 with their entire team going overall
how
negative.
Weird was all that drama that went down? I mean, there were like contracts being tweeted out. There was like so many strange tweets. Like I was trying to decipher it all. Like it was wild.
It was a mess.
That went down with the squad. It was a complete and utter mess. But I'm glad they've now found a solid core here.
Oh yeah, they pick up Parasite and Proofy, and really, I mean, the player out of those two, Parasite, despite the amount of teams he's been on, the amount of drama he's caused, a couple of bridges he's burned throughout AW.
He's really good at playing with different play styles.
Exactly. Now, I mean, yeah, like I said, like third AW Open, third AW Open with Prophecy, which is a team that we had no clue would place top 3 back then, if you can remember all the way back then.
Yeah.
They got third at COD Champs, they beat OG, fourth at X Games with TK, and fourth at Season 1 Championship as well, and then also the Hardpoint player of Season 1 and then the S&D player of the season for Season 2 as well. So, I mean, for me, it starts with Parasite. General is absolutely ridiculous with a Bal. He's going to dominate.
I've seen him disappear, though. That's my... When I look at this squad, I've seen Proopy have big games, but never really terrible games. I have seen General absolutely disappear. And if your Bal player is disappearing against people like Clayster in this group...
It's over.
They're going to have some trouble. But when I look at like their opponents, I do think General's probably better than any of the Bals you're going to see from Rise.
Oh, 100%. He's the second best Bal in this group, without a doubt. So, I mean, Maven, the real thing for me is that it's Proofy. I mean, you know, Proofy's had a very up and down AW season. He hasn't really found the team that he belongs on, but, you know, really fits with.
I get that. I totally get that, because I know, I kind of in the beginning with, what was it, Nation? Oh,
Nation,
God, I'm
yeah.
trying to think way back with Nation. Yeah, I thought he was one of, and I'm sorry, but like one of playing as bad as any of the pro players were. I thought he was really not playing well on that Nation team. But looking back over the past couple of months, I think he's been playing really strong. Thinking back to Gfinity, they're really strong Gfinity. I have them second in the group, and I wouldn't put it past them to battle it out with FaZe. I don't think they're going to take the group over them, but I love this team on paper. I think it's going to be fun to watch. I just still, the E6 half, when you're talking Exhib, or I'm sorry, when you're talking General and Ruiz, I still, I haven't seen enough of these guys to really kind of place them or tier them amongst these guys. I know you're confident he's the second best battle in the group, and I get that, but for me, I'm still kind of questioning where I put them, I guess, in my own mind. But these four together, I don't know. I'm excited to see what they do. They're a dark horse for me to really make like a top 4 run. Anything is possible, but it should be a fun one.
They failed to qualify through relegation.
Very different
And they
roster.
had Ruiz and they had General, right?
Yeah, very different roster.
So now you bring in some veterans in Parasite and Proofy. Let's see how much potential they truly have. I think this is a big test, and it's a big statement. If they play well this weekend, all right. I think they're the real deal. It's a team to look out for future Pro League seasons. If they just bomb out, though, I'm looking at UMG Cali as maybe just a fluke. Enigma 6, a lot of hype, won a lot of Michigan lands. What else have they done? They got to prove it to me this weekend. So I'm going to come out there and just be a little bit harsh on it. But I love your note here, Max. It says the last time we were unsure about Parasite and playing with new players, it was all the way back Columbus Open. They finished third with Fears and Legal. He proved that you don't need the shiniest roster to have success. So I really like that point. And Parasite, he chose not to try and get on any other Pro League team. He signed with E6 before all of the roster mania was done.
He brings a lot of leadership, a lot of veteran experience to this team, and really, he will be key to this team's success.
Well, there's one main reason why I think this can succeed. The biggest reason that I think Parasite crashes and burns in other teams and just fails and all this stuff happens kind of inside of the team, all that drama, is because, he wants to be the leader.
Right.
When there's something going wrong with the team, he wants to be the one that points out what needs to be fixed. You see it happen on Twitter. You hear it happen on team comms. He is a very cerebral player, and I agree with a lot of what he says. I just don't think he goes about it in a very good way when relaying that information to his team. But when he's talking to other players on the pro level, other players that also, may have egos or don't want to take direction as much, they end up bumping heads. So when he's trying to tell, let's say like a TP or a Karma what to do, they, in their heads, think they know how to do it just as well. But when you're talking about up-and-coming players, more like General and Ruiz, I think they're going to be players that are going to be a little more amped to listen to what he has to say, to take his advice, to listen to his leadership. I think you potentially have less headbutting than you do with other rosters. So that's one of the reasons I'm pretty excited for this.
You know what it reminds me of this of? Reminds me of Parasite. I'm not going to say this right now, but Parasite in general kind of reminds me a little bit of Parasite and Miracles back in Black Ops 2. Just a sense of Miracles is like an up-and-coming player, and listening to Parasite is how, to play the game and things. What was that? What was that?
Yeah, I just like to make fun of you. I'm not going to back that up at all, Max. Good try. Swing and a miss. Roster number 4.
Hey, Max, I get what you're saying, at least.
You get what I'm saying, right?
This is they're young players. He gets to teach. He gets to coach. He gets to mold.
Who was
He doesn't have to headbutt.
Parasite before Black Ops 2?
Oh, no, I know.
Whoa.
I get what you're saying.
Black
I
Ops
think
1.
the example was not the best, but I get what you're saying.
Okay, yeah.
Deal.
Max, you're fired, Max. Just get off the show.
Rod roster.
Take my headset off.
No, I might be totally wrong in that I didn't watch Black Ops when I was directing StarCraft at the time.
you go.
Rod roster, number 1, Nelson, Wolf, Kenny, and Assault. This is the Rod squad. We saw him play as RGS. They were able to finish, I think they made it to the finals. No, top 4 of our last 5K that I cast. This team looked really strong in Search and Destroy. They were on and off in Respawn. I have no idea what to predict or what to expect from this team, and especially Wolf. A lot of people kind of called out Wolf specifically in the chat. They were giving him a hard time when he was having bad games. He also had massive games throughout that 5K. So this is my dark horse squad in this pool. Would it be shocked if they beat Rise?
Nope.
Would not be shocked if they're able to steal a win off of Enigma 6. But Maven, what is honestly though? What is our knowledge level of these kind of semi-pro teams?
I know that Nelson was at relegation. He played, I think it was under Mutiny, and I know he likes to trash talk. Likes to trash talk. I know there's a lot of it going into it, and I just know when they were playing Prophecy, they're getting smacked. Nelson's struggling to get more than 10 kills in respawn, and Aches is basically like, "This is LAN. Why did you bother coming?" And then afterwards, you hear all the drama that the org might be suing him for potentially throwing games because his stats were so poor on LAN. There was all these hilarious things that came out of that team. I don't know. I don't know how much stock I can put in it, but do I see them upsetting a team like Enigma 6? No, I don't whatsoever, even though I think Rod Squad's a relatively cool name.
Rod Squad.
I mean, these are
Rod Squad.
Some of these players I have, a little bit of understanding of. Assault was on Fuse back in the beginning of AW. Wolf is a player we used to saw a team with Folsom in Black Ops 2.
Yeah, he qualified for champs, did he not?
Yeah.
Below zero?
Yeah. So
look at that knowledge.
They have some pieces.
Bombs.
Smallest bombs possible.
And show bucket bombs.
BBs. All right, continue.
But yeah, I mean, how much are you really expecting out of Rod Squad this weekend?
Nothing, but if they do something, awesome for them. The last squad, we don't know who it's going to be. I think we made some predictions, though. Let's take a look at our overall thoughts here.
I need chapstick.
We think Vex might be the second squad coming through. We're going to have FaZe on top for everyone. Enigma 6 at number 2 for everyone. Weren't really sure about the Rod Squad. We all put them at 5, and we think Vex probably going to beat most people. Now, I filled out mine first. Why did you guys copy me?
Whoa. I filled out mine first. Maven, I thought, actually,
I filled out mine last Thursday.
Last Thursday? You knew the pools before everybody.
Yep, I did.
Lucky you.
I did mine this morning. It was almost bordering on afternoon. But, no, I agree with most of it. I mean, unquestionably, I think FaZe comes out on top. Could you talk about Enigma 6 and Rise possibly having a battle there? You just get a shock at a Rise, maybe with a recent roster change with TCM for Goon. Yeah, but other than that, I'm comfortable with picking Rod Squad 5th. I think if there's any team in groups that could end up falling into that 5th spot, I mean, them, D&D, I guess. I think, well, it really depends where Orbit goes as well. Actually, I take back what I'm saying because there's a lot of teams I think that can kind of have that problem. But, no, I think we're all on the same page. I mean, there's just not, it doesn't seem like there's that much room for upset here. I mean, I could be wrong, but it seems pretty straightforward.
No, I agree with you. This is probably the easiest pool to call here.
I would like to go on record. I have some massive ties in this group. In Group B, I have FaZe going 4-0. 3-0 for Enigma 6. I think the other ones go 1-3 each.
Okay.
It all comes down to game count. So my 3 to 5 could swap in a heartbeat. As soon as someone gets a 3-0 or gets 3-0'd, I think you're going to see some major swaps there. But really all eyes are on the top 2 teams there. How good is Enigma 6? How dominant is FaZe looking early in a tournament? Because that's the squad we're looking to dethrone, the top dogs. After the commercial break, though, guys, we're talking Pool C. This one is going to be led by Denial. They come in with the number 3 seed overall. We'll be right back with more information.